Actually, you're gonna block me.
No, I'm gonna step down and let her off.
Well, the fantastic thing about being on this level. HR1. We all love HR1.
Is she being Madam White?
All right, we'll get them to you. Starting a trend.
Oh, that's for staff.
Yeah, that's.
You need a wheelbarrow there, Mr. Levin?
We need a wheelbarrow.
She'll take it with your phone.
Do this. Take it with my phone too.
Okay, I have no shame, so excuse me. Did you get it? Can you do one more?
It's HR1. It's a good one. Save my place. I think I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah.
Down? I'm not short.
What is 1306?
Laura DeRosio.
Okay.
Next person.
I'm gonna be in all of these.
Thank you.
That's right, they're gonna come out.
I'm gonna tell you what Maxine's gonna do.
Jumping over there. Let it.
Okay, you can go back. Go back.
Got it?
Or either, okay, you can go on this side because Remington is here.
Thank you.
So you need to just have the car ready. It's better to do that.
You're covering my face, Mark. Don't do that. Good shot.
I should each have a bill title. Like when should we have?
All right. One last chance.
Do you have a stapler? You want my stapler?
This one's mine.
It's like a magic. Can you pull it out?
I want you to hold them all. Oh, that's a good one. Good shot, good shot, good shot, good shot. Dan, 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 find paycheck in
Oh, it's
there.
right here.
Right
Right here. Yeah.
Cut the deck.
It's like a big game of Jenga, right?
It was about March.
Yeah.
So Rose, I have to tell you the story. So, US MC, I talked about the videos I found. So then next thing you know, Zoom will drink all the waters. Carry on. Like that little clicker, I don't know what that is. That took me in.
One o'clock, if it goes,
dancing, you know. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here. Here we go. Come on. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here, my colleagues, especially our freshman members who have brought so much intellectually and values-based ideas to the Congress in this first year of a Democratic majority. They have made a complete difference. I'm proud to say that when the a similar freshman class, a transformative freshman class, came after Watergate, the Watergate babies, a big transformative class. In the first year, not one of them had a gavel. In this freshman class, 18 freshmen chairs subcommittees of their committees. 10 women members, 8 men. 8 men. And I'm just saying that every time I'm signing bills to send over to the White House, every time, most of the bills have been introduced and passed by the freshmen. So they have made a difference even getting laws passed in their first year in the Congress. Last year, during the election, we promised the American people, for the people, we would lower the cost of health care by lowering the cost of prescription drugs. We would increase paychecks by building a green, resilient infrastructure for our country, and that we would clean up corruption in Washington. That was a flagship issue for this transformative freshman class. Lower the impact of big, dark, special interest money so that we could, and give the public confidence that we could pass legislation in the people's interest, not in the special interest. And for the first year, led by our freshmen, the majority achieved extraordinary progress for the American people. We sent over to the Senate over 400 bills, over 275 of them bipartisan. Bipartisan bills. I'm not going to read them all. You can wait until we make it into a movie or something and then hear about it that way. But Senator McConnell has said that he won't take up these bills. Well, we do believe that while he may be the Grim Reaper in his own words, these bills are alive and well in the public, and that now that they're there and we have more to come, that public sentiment, as Lincoln said, is everything, and public sentiment will weigh in on this. But this would not have been possible without the work and the leadership of our freshman class. And as I said to them, I could talk about each of you all day, but I'd rather you take the time to show your brilliance and what you have done. We have leaders of the freshman class, leaders on issues of concern to the caucus, and I'm going to let you hear from them right now. One of the presidents of the freshman class, Congressman Allred of Texas.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to be joined here with my fellow freshmen and my colleagues to speak about this historic first year of our time in Congress. We were reminded of our responsibility and the incredibly high stakes yesterday with the alarming ruling from the Fifth Circuit on the cynical partisan lawsuit looking to gut the Affordable Care Act and rip away health care for millions, and with it, protections for those with pre-existing conditions. That's why on day one, I was proud to lead with my colleagues to put the House back on the side of the people in protecting their health care in federal court. We must protect the progress that we've made, but as we did last week with the passage of the Lower Drug Costs Now Act, we must keep fighting to deliver relief to those struggling with the high cost of prescription drugs. I've heard from many North Texans, like Jill from Richardson, who's only 30 and was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Her treatment costs thousands of dollars per year out of pocket. She wrote to me and said that she's in a global Facebook group where people with her condition share their stories. There, she learned the cost of her drugs are about half the price in other countries. Stories like this are all too common. In the most powerful nation on earth, we cannot let the crippling cost of prescription drugs get in the way of someone living their version of the American dream. I was proud to vote with my House colleagues to stand up to special interests and take action. Our bill empowers the Department of Health and Human Services to negotiate directly to lower drug prices and stop the price gouging that is hurting the American people. The work is not done. In the new year, we must keep working to deliver on lower healthcare costs and lowering the cost of prescription drugs. Thank you, and with that, I will yield to my colleague and my friend from Michigan, Haley Stevens.
Thank you. As we gather to close out a remarkable year of delivering for the people, we are about to add another document to this stack, the passage of the United States, Canada, and Mexico Trade Agreement, the USMCA. This is a bipartisan agreement that will bring certainty, advocating for our middle class, and creating jobs. It also allows us to turn the page on some of the negative effects of NAFTA. Let me tell you about what this means for a district like mine in Michigan, what this means for the Midwestern economies who rely on the products, the best-in-class made products from the best-in-class workforce. That is advocating for our competitiveness, and it is putting the For the People agenda at the forefront. It is a long overdue compromise, and a compromise you don't see so often in this body, but one that we are reaching today. The question is, will the Senate act? The House certainly has. We've heard from our suppliers, from our manufacturers, from our auto workers, and today we deliver for all of them. And with that, I would like to pass the podium over to my dear friend, Sharice Davids.
Thank you, and thank you to my colleagues who are here today and to the speaker for holding this important press conference so that we can learn more about the work that we have been doing in the House that continues to sit in the Senate. 25 years ago, the landmark Violence Against Women Act was first signed into law to curb the epidemic of domestic violence, stalking, and sexual assault in this country. Earlier this year, I was honored to preside over the House floor when the new majority passed a robust, bipartisan, long-term reauthorization of VAWA. In my home state of Kansas in 2017, the number of domestic violence-related homicides doubled from the previous year, the biggest increase we've seen in 2 decades. That's why we came together this year to reauthorize VAWA, update it with life-saving provisions. These include improving the services and programs available to survivors, helping stop convicted abusers from obtaining firearms, and strengthening the healthcare system's response to victims in their time of need. Importantly, this legislation reaffirms tribal criminal jurisdiction and helps combat the crisis of the murdered and missing Indigenous women that we're seeing in this country. Native women are 10 times more likely to be victims of sexual violence than any other group of women in this country, which is why it's essential that VAWA increases protections for Native women and girls. These are critical steps to help ensure every survivor of violence and abuse can receive the support, protection, and justice that they deserve. I'm particularly proud of this bipartisan legislation. VAWA is not about partisan politics. It's about saving lives. Because every person, everywhere, no matter the state or jurisdiction that they're in, has a right to live free from violence and abuse. The 116th Congress has made that a priority. Passing the reauthorized VAWA Act within our first 100 days in office is evidence of that. Now I hope the Senate will address the issue with that same commitment and sense of urgency that we did. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Speaker Pelosi, for holding this press conference today, and I'm so grateful to stand with all my colleagues who have worked so very hard this year. Thank you all for being here today. About a week ago, I attended a vigil celebrating the lives of 20 first graders that were gunned down at Sandy Hook Elementary School. A week before that, I celebrated the life of my own son, who was shot and killed while he sat in the back seat of a friend's car playing loud music at a gas station. The tragedy at Sandy Hook and the murder of my own son happened 7 years ago, less than just 1 month apart. I came to Washington to take that sense of protection and that sense of love and that sense of nurturing that a mother has for her son, to use it for the families in my district and the American people. And so I am so proud that within the very first week of Congress, we did just that. We passed H.R. 8, the Bipartisan Background Checks Act, a bill that will help save so many American lives. We passed H.R. 1112, closing the Charleston loophole. And I am proud that just a couple of days ago, for the first time in 20 years, we, this Congress, appropriated millions of dollars to the CDC and the NIH for gun violence research that will save millions. It will save millions of lives to study gun violence and help us find solutions that keep our families and our communities safe. And I am proud that these bipartisan bills, they are a part of what the majority has done, what the majority of Americans believe in. And as we go forth in 2020, I ask that we all go forth in faith, we all go forth in determination, and we all go forth in strength, because people deserve hope. Americans deserve hope. And because we are making progress, we will continue to do our work for the people, because we were sent here by the people. And now it's my honor to introduce to you my colleague, Representative McCursel Powell.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you to all my colleagues for all the work that we've done this year in the 116th Congress. One of the greatest successes this year is the passage of H.R. 6, the Dreamer and Promise Act. We made a promise, we fulfilled that promise with the passage back in June. Los soñadores son americanos como todos nosotros, pero no en papel. Our dreamers are as American as any one of us, except on paper. And this affects so many people in this country, thousands living in Florida alone. People like Jose Cortez, who was born in Colombia, but has not been back his entire life. And he's employing and contributing millions to our economy by starting his own IT company. But let's not forget that under our leadership also, the House also passed the H.R. 9, Climate Action Now Act. And as someone that represents South Florida, we understand the urgency of taking climate action. This bill put us back on the Paris Climate Agreement. We have sent it. It's somewhere along here, maybe in the bottom. But I don't think that there's anything more urgent where we need to take action than H.R. 9. So the time to act is now. Senator Mitch McConnell, we are waiting for you to take action. Thank you so much. And with that, it is my honor also to introduce my fellow mom in Congress. We have become very good friends, talking about being new moms in Congress, Katie Porter from California.
On the campaign trail and here in Washington, I promised to put working families before special interests. And House Democrats have made that principle the touchstone of our For the People agenda. When I asked JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon how a single mom working at his bank could make ends meet at an entry-level wage, he said he didn't know. He'd have to think about it. Well, House Democrats have thought about it, and we have delivered for the people. We've passed the Raise the Wage Act because working families shouldn't have to choose between keeping a roof over their heads and putting food on the table. Today, we are also bringing legislation to the floor to repeal the harmful limits of the state and local tax, the SALT deduction, included in the Trump tax law. This provision hurt working people, while the Trump tax law gave a windfall to corporate special interests. No more. Whether it's wage fairness or tax fairness, House Democrats have made sure that Congress is working for the people, and we will continue that fight for the people in the new year. With that, I turn it over to the distinguished speaker.
Let's hear it for Katie. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Congresswoman Allred, Congressman Allred, Congresswoman Stevens, Congresswoman Davids, Congresswoman McBath, Congresswoman Marcus Alpal, Congresswoman Porter. Aren't we proud of our freshmen? Aren't we proud of our freshmen? And I do want to add that when we went to Spain, in order to say that according to our legislation, Climate Action Now, when we went to Spain to the COP25, 3 members of our delegation were members of the freshman class to deliver the message, we're still in. We're still in. So this class, in the ways that you've heard here, but so many other ways, have been a very important part of taking us to a higher plane of unity, a higher plane of aspirations, a higher plane of hope for the American people. For that, we are very grateful to them. We salute them for their courage in running, because this is not for the faint of heart, and now for running again, and I'm very assured that they will be back. I personally today want to thank them for their moral courage for supporting and defending the Constitution of the United States. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. Go this way. We're on the floor.
I like that.
So good. So good.
Catherine, can you do me a... Oh, you're doing a photo? Is